It's time for Arts This Week, your download of the latest arts and culture events in and around town. As the saying goes, we can't go home again. But what if we have to? That's the premise of a new lyric stage company show called Fabulation, or The Re-Education of Undine, by Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright Lynn Nottage. Undine is living large, riding her Ivy League education, running a boutique New York PR firm, and corralling celebrities. But after her husband absconds with all her money and the FBI comes calling, she's bounced back to Brooklyn. To understand what a blow this is to the image she has created for herself, she once told a magazine that her family had perished in a fire. To her, that was a much easier truth than confessing that she came from struggle. Undine is the name of a lead character in Edith Wharton's 1913 novel, The Custom of the Country. So with that as her springboard, Lynn Nottage has crafted her own updated comedy of manners. We watch her, Undine, reconcile who she thinks she's supposed to be, which is pretty bougie as she admits, with the reality of her upbringing. No silver spoon, but parents who worked hard as security guards, a brother grappling with PTSD from his military service, and a grandmother with an unfortunate drug habit. Often wickedly funny, this production of Fabulation draws us in with the wicked truth of what our backgrounds say about us, or rather, what other people say they say about us. For years, the curatorial team behind the exhibition Designing Motherhood at the Mass Art Museum tried to get this show off the ground. Time and again, they were told nobody would want to see a whole show examining the arc of human reproduction. This is, of course, despite the fact that we all have a connection to this material and that we're all born. Finally, wiser institutions, including Mass Art, prevailed. Flash forward, and the Dobbs decision overturning Roe v. Wade makes this incredibly thoughtful and insightful show more relevant than ever. It walks us through 150 years of design, thought, and stories around pregnancy, birth, contraception, and more. How it's been fashioned by designers and interpreted by artists. It highlights the painfully slow process of developing devices and methods actually suitable for women. The racial disparity in medical care, and we see contemporary artists like photographer Tabitha Soren and Boston sculptor Alison Crony Moses delivering intensely personal takes on the subject. The Boston Public Library has one of the most extraordinary collections of books, art, and manuscripts in America. Its Special Collections Department requires nearly 7 miles of shelving to house its treasures, from early Shakespeare folios to original prints by artists like Toulouse-Lautrec to the Bible, on which Mayor Michelle Wu swore her oath. The department has just completed a years-long $15.7 million renovation, and now reminds us the collection is available to everyone. You don't have to be a scholar, an author, or have any other special credentials to gain access to this wealth of material. To see and read for yourself an original printing of the Declaration of Independence or the abolitionist paper, The Liberator. All you need to do is make an appointment, and this wealth of materials is yours to experience. After all, the library's motto is free to all. Ancestry and legacy is at the heart of the new Museum of Fine Arts Boston exhibition, Touching Roots. It's an installation that celebrates Blackness and the joy of creation that comes through cultural connections, how they're passed from generation to generation, from continent to continent. Here we find artists of the Americas working throughout the 20th and 21st centuries and tapping into their layers of heritage, following the threads of spiritual beliefs and practices. For the artists who haven't traveled to Africa, they conjure the motherland of their imagination. We also venture back to the 1960s and 70s, as artists responded to the calls of Pan-Africanism, when African countries fought for independence. Two artists in particular strike me here, Lois Mailou Jones, the first black woman to graduate from the School of the Museum of Fine Arts, she roamed the world from the 1930s to the 70s, filling her canvases with her impressions. And Stephen Hamilton, a contemporary Boston artist representing a Dorchester High School student as a legendary African leader. Next week, keep an eye out for the Concord Festival of Authors. The 30th anniversary of this town-wide literary celebration kicks off with a host of writers talking about their work. I'll be there talking to Gregory McGuire, the author of Wicked. This is your Arts Download. I'll see you back here and in Concord next week.